the thing that I wanted to share and talk to you about in relative to this, well, first of all, just the sheer loss of this for the community. Let's just be frank about it. Frank. Like you said, you just said it in a very kind way. For the majority of people that are doing politics as entertainment, they didn't have any real visceral emotional reaction to the deaths of these people because we just quite frankly become desensitized to death because we live in a culture of death. I mean, we're constantly at war. We have public policy. I mean, I don't want to get into it to the point where we go down the rabbit hole, but we're not living in a culture of life. And we have death constantly reflected to us, political violence like these riots, or that it's constant. So people are desensitized. That was not your experience. You must have gone, whoa, that must have just grabbed you when that happened because it was somebody that you knew. I assume you knew
Of
Melissa
course.
Hortman.
Yeah. No, I mean, so the personal, I'll take you through the personal ride of the immediate hours and days and the past couple of weeks. So I wake up that Saturday morning, get woken up by my wife, who tells me, I mean, this is the first thing you hear as you're opening your eyes,
Good
right?
morning, honey.
Yeah, right. And you have to remember in that moment, we didn't have any of the context. So we didn't know who this guy was. We didn't have any sense of what the motivation was or who was being targeted. All we knew was two legislators had been attacked and the speaker emerita and her husband had been murdered. That's all we knew. And so how do you process that? I think the immediate assumption amongst all of my colleagues was you have to assume that you're being targeted. And so it's contacting law enforcement, it's ensuring that there's extra patrols, it's making sure you have your home set up in such a way as that you can respond if there is a threat, making sure the cameras have batteries in them, that sort of thing. And then as the details rolled out and it became more apparent that the list of folks who were being targeted were either Democrats or were in some way associated with the abortion industry. As a Republican, as a conservative, you had a certain degree of not a sense of safety, but certainly an acknowledgement that you're less likely to be one of the people who's being
You
attacked.
weren't on that list.
Correct, but you also you can't assume that, "Oh, okay, then everything's fine now." Remember, this guy was running around for 43 hours before they finally caught up with him, and it was a really strange way, and there continues to be, to my mind, a lot of very legitimate questions about how this all went down. It's like the more we learned about it, the weirder it got. Finding out that, in point of fact, he didn't just go to 2 legislators' homes, he went to 4 legislators' homes. The first one apparently was the Hoffmans, and then there were 2 others that they weren't home. At the 3rd one, as I understand it, because he was dressed sorta like a police officer. He had a squad car that was they refer to it as a squad car, but if you've seen the pictures, really doesn't look like an official squad car. I mean, like, really rinky dink, fake police license plate, a logo on the side that is not an agency logo, but he had a light bar and it was a black vehicle. So he's encountered by a police officer in a squad responding to the legislator's home, doing a welfare check. And this guy's sitting on the street on the curb, and this cop comes by and does one of those window to window things, apparently, and tries to engage with him. He ignores her and just looks straight ahead. And so she just like drives away, apparently. And then he goes from there to the Hortmans, where he murders them. That's crazy to me. I don't understand how that happens. How do you not recognize that this isn't an actual legitimate police vehicle? How are you not calling into, because even if you think it's an actual law enforcement vehicle, you certainly recognize that it's not part of your agency, right?
Do you expect that there's gonna be hearings about this in the legislature when you return?
We'll
Because
see.
because you're bringing up issues of
Yeah.
policing, police training,
Yeah.
and, I mean, these are significant issues, and we don't even know what drove this guy. That's another thing. The theories that what drove him, I mean, I have no idea what drove him. He could have been a Mad Hatter.
Mhm.
He could have been a very cold and calculating political assassin. We don't know. I mean, there's no real knowledge of what drove him behaviorally to do this. Do we know anything about that yet? I don't think so. Is there
Well,
presumptions?
there are theories, right, based upon the list of targets and things that he said, but a guy like this, you can't take what he's saying at face value. I mean, again, going back to the questions that I have about how this all unfolded. So you've got that police encounter, and then you've got the fact that he escaped on foot from the Hortmans out the back and apparently somehow made it back to Minneapolis. What, with no vehicle? Like, did he have help? He's going back and forth between two places where he's known to reside, doesn't get intercepted at either of those places. He's running around looking for money. And he was apparently trying to retrieve 10K from his residence in Green Isle. Well, I mean, why wouldn't you, like, if you had an escape plan, wouldn't you have set that up prior rather than trying to figure it out after? And then his wife and family members getting pulled over and they've got passports and 20K in the car and cash, and this guy works as a 7-Eleven manager and for funeral homes, but somehow has a $500,000 house paid off, 3 different cars, tons of expensive firearms and ammunition, travels across the world intercontinentally, and has 2 places of residence where he's paying rent at one. Uh, Where's this money coming from? How's he got tens of thousands of dollars of cash? None of this makes any sense, and it raises a lot of questions. So, asking what his motivation was is almost like the least interesting question as to how this panned out. I mean, this is absolutely nuts.